Hello, and welcome to the Energy Connect studio at NOG Energy Week 2023. I'm thrilled to have sitting next to me Roger Brown, CEO of Seplat, joining me at the studio today. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, good to be here. Yeah.
What, in your view, are the necessary enablers for attracting investment in the upstream sector in Nigeria?
I think, I categorize enablers. I mean, we can go through every detail, but let me just categorize it in three broad ones, which is clarity. Okay, and what does that mean? It really means is be very clear what the laws are, what the regulation is. So what does government want? How does it set it out? And will government then follow the laws, etc.? So that laws and regulation. I think the next thing is, particularly with us, is community. So it's actually interacting with the people you most affect. It's the stakeholders. It's important to set clearly out what they're, in return with the disruption, what are they getting back in return for it? Okay, and set those out. The other thing also is a very clear legal system. Okay, and that's the strength of any country, which is a legal system which is strong, and the judges and others will follow those rules and regulations. So if you give them clarity, set it out, that's the first thing. Second thing is really about, kind of being stable. Okay, so really looking at the risk profile of your transaction, whatever, and looking from end to end. Is it stable the whole way through? If you're extracting oil and gas in the upstream, can you get that to market? Can you get it stability in a stable way and a consistent way? Because then your project will then work end to end. That stability, of course, will then impinge on pipelines working. So if you have instability from attacks, that's going to disrupt your project, and it's going to, put people off funding, or in cases prices will go up. So the stability is key. And then the last one I'd say is success, right? So we all need success stories. We need more successes than failures. And so when the providers of capital are talking about investing in this great horizon of Nigeria, how many success stories have there been? Well, this company did well and that company did well. And success breeds more success. So you've got to really be looking at the world, and capital is pretty mobile. It can decide where it wants to go to and stay. How does Nigeria make itself much more attractive? It needs these three lots of factors.
That's really interesting, Roger. And actually, before we go on to my next question, maybe for the audience to explain a bit more what you're actually doing in the energy space here in Nigeria.
Yes. So Seplat is a young company. It started in 2010. Okay, and we are an indigenous independent. So Nigeria was dominated by a mixture of national oil company and international oil companies. And what you're seeing now, the emergence of the independent space, the indigenous local content, and Seplat is very much a leader in that. We are very big in oil and gas. So not just in the upstream, but also in the midstream and the gas processing. And now a lot of that gas is going into power within Nigeria. So, any day we could be a third of the gas to power on the grid. What does that mean? That means that those expensive diesel generators, PMS generators, we see all around Lagos, we're going to reduce and get rid of those. The electricity price is going to come down, and it's then going to facilitate the development of all the employment that's needed, all the different sectors that will drive forward, healthcare, education. Nigeria really needs to create an infrastructure and the platform for this very fast growing population, and the gas business is really that. Also, then we've taken the decision to go into power, which is a continuation of that value chain. And then that power will then allow us to do renewable energy. And we're committed to doing renewable energy on a big scale, probably mostly solar, I'd say, in country. So it's that real transition mix that Seplat is really driving, which is, under the banner, if you want to call it that, of access to affordable and reliable energy.
It's really interesting to hear, Roger. Sounds like a lot of opportunities, but certainly sort of leading in the development of gas seems to be a real focus then for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the gas we're all domestic gas. Okay, so all our molecules get utilized. So that light that's powering us today is probably going to be Seplat gas going into power. And we want to broaden that. We've got Currently, we've got one gas plant, big gas plant. We're developing another one in the east, which is up and running. It's ANO, it's called. It'll be up and running by the end of the year. We're redeveloping our Seplat gas plant, which will be ready next year. So we'll have 3 gas plants, and we're doing about 850 million scuffs a day. That will probably bring us up to maybe 40% of the gas to power as of today, if not more than that, which is quite dominant, right? But really what we want to do is much broader than that. So we want to do LPG. Now, why is LPG important? What LPG is doing is it's going into cooking, largely into domestic uses. Today, 80% of energy in Nigeria, and actually wider Africa, is firewood, right? So cooking is all done by firewood. It's unhygienic. It's not actually sustainable because people are cutting, deforesting. So actually this LPG will then do clean cooking. LNG is another one that we want to move into, which is liquefied natural gas. And that will have domestic opportunities, but actually supplying the international world and bringing, valuable dollars back into Nigeria to be reinvested.
Well, busy times ahead. And I want to touch on, because you mentioned renewable energy there. So what fiscal policies are required to attract investment in Nigeria's energy sector outside the hydrocarbon, so in the the renewable side?
Renewable energy, we see it is really electricity. Okay, and so your electricity sector has to work, and that's in supply, transmission, distribution, and consumer paying for it. Now, what's great about Nigeria is there's any amount of end consumers that will pay for the electricity. So you need to create electricity in a bigger scale, and what we're saying is gas will provide that base load for renewable energy in a bigger scale. Why is that important? Well, because you look all around the world, Europe, elsewhere, they've got a base load. It's either gas, or it's going to be hydro, or it's going to be nuclear. There's a base load, because you need a base load on the grid to then layer on the renewable energy, because guess what? At night time, there's no cell. So what our focus is getting that gas power working, at the same time as looking at the right solar projects, allowing us to develop that in the future. But we really want to scale it up when we've built this baseload.
Very interesting to hear, Roger. So sounds like a busy 2023 then for the rest of the year.
It has been busy so far, and it's going to be a very busy one. But you know what? You never get tired when you're excited, and there's lots of opportunity. We have a new government in place. The new government is really much focused on ease of doing business, foreign direct investment. Let's move Nigeria on very quickly. And we're excited. We're aligned with what the government's trying to do. And the rest of 23 and 24 onwards, the future's bright.
Well, that's good to hear. And just before we go, we're here at NOG Energy Week. How's the show gone for you? And what's important of having a show like this in Abuja?
Yeah, always love being back at these shows. You can never, Zoom calls, team calls can never replicate this. So seeing people face to face, having dinner, the sessions are really good. What I like about NOG is you've got the right mix of government and private sector and funders and everything else in the room. Sometimes these shows doesn't have government in the same level of the energy. So here you can walk around, you can liaise with your government partners. We can talk about innovation and the future. It's exciting. I'm glad to be back. Looking forward to being back here next year.
Well, that's great to hear, Roger. And I just want to thank you for coming down to the Energy Connect studio today.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for watching, and I look forward to bringing you more studio interviews in the coming days.